Conservatism in Exile. The Sean Hannity Show starts right here, right now.
Indeed it does. And ladies and gentlemen, my honor, my pleasure, my privilege to be sitting in for my good friend Sean Hannity. He'll be back Monday. Don't fret, he'll be back Monday, and we'll hold the fort while he is away today. A lot to talk about. There's always a lot to talk about when you tune in to your favorite station and listen to the Sean Hannity program. As a matter of fact, at 4 o'clock or shortly thereafter, we're going to talk to Senator Jim DeMint, who is one of the best United States senators in the Senate. Jim DeMint of South Carolina. And my favorite New York Congressman, Pete King, will be joining us. He'll be joining us during the 5 o'clock portion of today's Sean Hannity program. And I must tell you that listening to Rush preceding this broadcast and thinking about many of the things I've read already this morning and thought about, indeed, we are under siege. That is not an overstatement. It is, I'm sorry to tell you, an apt description of what is going on. We are under siege. We're under siege not from a foreign power that has attempted or is attempting to invade our nation. We are under siege from people who masquerade as Americans. People who would have you believe that they would stand upon hearing the national anthem and the same thoughts would go through their minds as go through yours. I have to believe, because you're listening to the Sean Hannity program, that you are true Americans. Americans who realize that this gift, which is called the Republic of the United States of America, this gift that was given to us that is called the Constitution of the United States, this gift that was called the Declaration of Independence, is something that is fragile. Handle with care. Have you ever seen those packages? Handle with care. Fragile. And we should handle our liberty with care. And that means we are supposed to be ever vigilant. Otherwise, we will lose it. And because of the great mistake we made on November 4th, 2008, it is more in peril than it has ever been. Because for the first time in our history, and this includes the New Dealers under FDR, the Great Society people under Lyndon Baines Johnson, but we have, for the first time in the history of this once great republic, we have an individual who would rather be a sultan and probably will go down in history as our 44th president and first sultan, a man who cannot escape his upbringing, cannot escape the inculcation of socialist ideals which he learned from people like Saul Alinsky. And so make no mistake, nobody's over-dramatizing this. Nobody is crying that the sky is falling. But ladies and gentlemen, with what has been happening and what is planned for us, the sky is going to fall. Liberals and a small core of conservative Democrats set aside long-standing ideological differences to cut a deal that should allow the House Energy and Commerce Committee to approve a sweeping health care bill, breaking a 2-week deadlock that threatened President Barack Obama's top domestic priority. And I really don't have the words to aptly describe what is in store for us. But when a great opinion maker, when a great writer like Charles Krauthammer says that the projections that we are faced with are projections that spell doom. Yes, doom. I use that word, doom, for the United States economy. We cannot handle what Obama is doing and what he plans to do. And I want to remind you, if you just tuned in and you're hearing a strange voice, it's not the voice of Sean Hannity. It's Bob Grant sitting in for Sean, and people calling in from all walks of life, from various parts of the country. And why don't we hear from some of those good folks calling the Sean Hannity program? Here's Matt from Ohio. Matt, welcome to the Sean Hannity program.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Okay.
Listen, Bob, I'm upset over the Democrats, of course, and what they're trying to pass with the health care. But I was watching Fox News last night, and I saw supposed conservative Republicans who were presenting what they called a meet in the middle plan. And what the Republicans don't understand is the American people don't want a meet in the middle plan. Their plan was $700 billion. I don't want that, and I don't think the American public wants that either. But even the conservative Republicans in Congress don't seem to be getting the message.
Well, these are some people who may mean well, may feel that it's better to go for this meet in the middle than the inevitable crushing plan that Barack Obama has in mind for us. But my sentiments are with you, and I thank you very much, Matt. Let's say hello to Nick, also calling from the Buckeye State of Ohio. Welcome to the Sean Hannity Show, Nick. Hello.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
All right.
Hey, I am HM3 CAF. I'm actually a United States Navy corpsman, and I was actually calling to comment about recently in the American government, they've been talking a lot, trying to compare this new universal health care system to military medicine. And being that I'm a corpsman, I am a Marine. I'm a medic for Marines, so I have a very unique outlook on military medicine. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, to tell you the truth. I think that comparing military medicine to a civilian side medicine is not comparable. There's too many different aspects,
What scares you most of all about Obama's health care overhaul?
What's that?
What scares you most of all about the so-called reform of health care?
Oh, patient care. I think the quality care and patient care in itself will go down the drains, and you'll see people getting pushed in and out of the hospitals. The quality of doctors is going to go straight down the tubes. Myself, I'm striving to become a doctor, and medical school is incredibly hard to get into, and I fear that if this healthcare goes through, that yes, I might be able to get into medical school because they're going to drop the standards considerably, but that means worse healthcare for everyone across our great state.
All right, Nick, I salute you. I congratulate you on serving your country, and I want you to know that any thinking American has got to appreciate what you're doing. All right, we're going to forge ahead here on the Sean Hannity program. And if you want to make contact, the number to call, 800-941-SEAN, S-E-A-N. Straight ahead.
The conservative.
All right. We're continuing with the Sean Hannity program. Bob Grant sitting in if you've just joined us. And stick around. Later we're going to talk to Senator Jim DeMint of South Carolina. We're going to talk to Congressman Pete King. And, of course, the main topic, which has taken front and center, understandably, is the so-called health care bill, which is something that looks to be devastating. Let's take a phone call from Leo in Lake Jackson, Texas. Yes, Leo.
I think that Obama winning is probably one of the best things that this country could have ever done for this country. And the reason is that if McCain would have won, we would have had a gradual erosion of our liberties. You have to remember that McCain's the guy that wanted to push through the amnesty bill. McCain was the one that voted against the tax cuts. McCain was the one that went to Washington and voted for the first stimulus bill. If we would have had McCain as president, what would have happened is that we would have
Wait a minute. Why waste your time with some supposition like that and a hypothetical? Because if you followed the campaign, you know that they were not in agreement on very many things. And to suggest that he would have been worse than this abomination, no pun intended, is ridiculous, Leo.
I don't think it is. I think what would happen is that what's nice about Obama is that it's a slap in the face for Americans. What we are able to see right now is what liberal America is leading us to. If we would have had McCain, our eyes would have been closed, and we would have had a gradual erosion and digging a bigger and bigger and bigger.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Really, what is your logic?
If you look at McCain, he's the guy that wants to reach across the aisle and build consensus with the liberals. He's one of the Republicans that loves to
so
do
in
that.
other words, because he liked consensus and because he believed in bipartisanship, he would be worse than this socialist who is wrecking America.
And the reason is that you would be getting votes from both Republicans and votes from Democrats.
Listen, Leo, I tell you, I think you ought to sleep it off. Whatever it is, sleep it off. Forrest from Port Angeles, Washington. Yes.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, I'm a retired vet, and unlike the corpsman, and God bless his service, and thank you for that. I have been involved with I'm medically retired, and so I've been involved the last 12 years with the medical system of the Army and the military. When it comes to this health care plan, though, my question is that being that it's an insurance, basically they're trying to pass an insurance about this health care bill. It's an insurance.
Yes.
I have what's called I forgot the name of what I have. It's a card that I get to carry where I live because I'm so far away from the VA hospital. I get to take it to any doctor and say, will you accept this card from the VA and let me come and you be my doctor?
Yes.
There are 16 doctors that live in Port Angeles. I went to 16 doctors. On the 16th doctor, he finally said yes. Every single other doctor said no. They wouldn't accept that card because the VA takes about 2 months to pay a doctor for the bill, for the visit and all that. So my question about the health care bill, are doctors going to be forced to take the health care insurance, or will they still have their opportunity of saying, hey, I don't want to take the government insurance because I know it's going to take forever to get paid?
Well, you will lose any option. There are 5 major options that you will lose, and what you're talking about is one of those options that you will lose. You won't be able to just go to just anybody because of your particular condition. It will have to be somebody that is already selected for you. I warn you, ladies and gentlemen, 1,018 pages, and certainly I'm not going to be different than anybody else, those politicians that went to Washington to have a good time. And the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, nobody knows for sure what's in it, but what they do know is what's not in it. And what's not in it is that you, the American citizen, will be able to make your choices. Forget about it. Thank you very much. Good luck to you, of course. Richard in Oceanside, California. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Bob. You got my connection? Hello, Bob?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a 66-year-old, and I'm scared to death of this Obamacare. It looks to me like a genocide against seniors.
Well, what you have to do is go to those meetings. You've got a congressman down there, and I know that he usually votes the right way in your neck of the woods. Make sure that when they go back in September after this recess, that they join forces to vote against this legislation. That's all I can tell you. Thank you very much.
The thing that's really got me worried is this brother of Rahm Emanuel's, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel.
Yes, Rahm Emanuel, yes.
His brother, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, is now in the administration, and this guy's saying things like...
Okay, listen, I tell you, we have to leave you, but I understand your problem, and I certainly sympathize. Straight ahead. Be a Hannity Insider. Bob Grant sitting in for Sean today. He'll be back on Monday. And, of course, we've got a lot of people calling, want to be heard. A little later, we're going to talk to Jim DeMint, the United States Senator from South Carolina, and I think one of the most solid guys in the United States Senate. Speaking of senators, I have to say this, folks. I said it before I learned of his illness. I'd be a hypocrite if I said anything different. But there is a senator from the state of Connecticut, and I really believe he probably belongs in jail. No, I'm not talking about Joe Lieberman. I'm not talking about Joe. I'm talking about a guy who was elected back in 1980. 1980. So it's almost 30 years, that he will be sponging off the taxpayer, living at the public trough, and making contact with those people who had countrywide savings. Remember the countrywide savings deal? How Crist got a sweetheart loan and then some? He was first elected to the Senate in 1980, and he hasn't stopped with his hand out yet. He says, get a load of this. Typical politician. As you probably noticed, I'm working some long and hard hours lately. That's what he said to the Washington Post. And he says, and that will continue. Now, this guy has played a major role in shaping health care legislation because he is the second-ranking Democrat on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, whose chairman, are you ready for this? Whose chairman is the swimmer himself, Edward M. Kennedy. And Dodd has started aggressively campaigning for re-election, and polls show he could face a tough contest. I want to also remind you that Dodd has drawn criticism in his state for moving his family to Iowa in late 2007 for his unsuccessful presidential run, and his role this year in a provision that allowed some employees at AIG to receive large bonuses even though the company had received money in last year's federal bailout of financial firms. Now, I'd like to understand something. If anybody knows, please don't hesitate to tell me. But I thought if you are elected to the United States Senate in a particular state, that you can't just suddenly move your family out of the state, say, no, this is my legal residence, and then move back. I didn't know you could do that. But anyway, Keep your eye on Chris Dodd, ladies and gentlemen. He should be wearing prison garb, but I doubt that he will. Hey, I got to tell you what I really believe. What do you want me to do? All right, let's say hello to Don from Lake Ronkonkoma. Hello, Don. Oh, Don's not there. All right. That's what happens. Let's go to Al in dear Tennessee. Yes, Al.
Thank you, Bob, for taking my call. I'm really concerned about the health care. To make a long story short, and war story, I'll give you a war story, but when my son was born, he was born with a congenital heart defect called tetralogy of Fallot, which means he had 4 defects in the heart. Well, when he was 4.5 months old, he had to have a procedure called the Blaylock procedure to allow him to grow and his heart to grow so he could have, a final surgery. Well, in the process of waiting in time, our surgeon was killed in a car wreck, and we didn't really have much faith in the other doctors there, and the new doctor that they had hired was losing too many babies, so our cardiologist suggested that we take him to Birmingham, Alabama. So we took him there. He was 3 years old when he had his corrective surgery done, and if he didn't have that choice, he wouldn't be a 29-year-old businessman. He has his own business now, owns 2 businesses, and me being a paramedic, my wife being a nurse practitioner, we really have been, close to the medical field, and we can see what kind of care our doctors give. And if we change our process of having doctors having, the choice to see their patients without intervention from our government, I think we're really going to be hurting if we don't have a choice. My son wouldn't be alive today, I'm sure of that.
God bless you. Spread the word, Al. Spread the word. Thank you very much. We hear a lot of people say, I want the Canadian plan. No, you don't want the Canadian plan. If you had the Canadian plan, here's just a couple of things you would enjoy. For example, if you had the Canadian plan and you needed a colonoscopy, your doctor had told you you should have a colonoscopy because he didn't like some of the symptoms that were going on. The gastroenterologist did not like the symptoms you were showing. Want to know something? You would have to wait at least 8 months before you could get the colonoscopy. Here's something else. There is a drug called Avastin. Now, Avastin is a very powerful drug. It works on a certain type of cancer. It is expensive. It costs $50,000. But if you don't have it, you're doomed to death. If you do have it, you can survive. You want to know something? In Canada, people have thought they could get the Avastin, and they were told no, they cannot get the Avastin. The Canadian plan will not allow them to spend that kind of money. Go off somewhere and die and leave the rest of us alone. I mean, that's what it amounts to. What do you think? You think they don't know what the consequences of something like that is going to be? All right, we're going to say hello to Scott in San Antonio. Yes, Scott.
Hello, I'll be right to the point. If Congress can't handle something as straightforward as the Cash for Clunkers program, how can we trust them with health care?
Beautiful. Exactly. By the way, John McCain, somebody mentioned John McCain. John McCain said he will filibuster in order to keep the Clunkers program from taking shape. He said it's just a big waste of money, and already it is proving to be a big waste of money. So, John McCain, if you intend to filibuster, I salute you. And if you do filibuster, most Americans will salute you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call, Scott. Bob Grant sitting in here for Sean Hannity, who will be back on Monday. All right, here's Steve from Springdale, Maine. Hello, Steve.
How you doing, Bob?
All right. I hope
Yeah, about the same as the rest of us, I think. I've been following all of this that's been going on, and I've tried to get a picture of exactly what I see happening, and maybe it'll help other people see what's happening also. Since Obama's been in as president, he's been appointing his czars to different positions within the government. And my view and my belief is that he's actually forming his own government from within our structure. And through coercion, he will eventually force all of the other people out, or they will comply with his demands. And it'll be Obama's government, not the Americans' government.
I understand what you're saying. As a matter of fact, the same Barack Obama had talked during the campaign about forming a virtual private army. Nobody took him too seriously, obviously, because he got elected. But he did talk about a private army. As far as the czars are concerned, it sounds unconstitutional. I mean, where in heaven's name does the executive get all that authority to, in effect, create a different Congress? And that's what it amounts to. So your point is well taken, Steve. I thank you very much. You know, the more people learn about Barack Obama, the more they're saying, why did we vote for this guy? Well, there are a lot of reasons that people voted for him. And we've made mistakes before, but this is a monumental mistake, folks. A monumental mistake. And how can we start correcting it? By electing a Republican Congress in the year 2010. And then, of course, 2012, well, he's got to run for re-election. That's a long way off. So if you have any ideas, you let me know. Bob Grant sitting in for Sean Hannity right here, straight ahead. Telephones here on the Sean Hannity program. Let's go to Brian in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Are you there, Brian?
Hey, Bob. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I was just, I'm a healthcare provider here in Oklahoma City, and I've heard a lot of comparisons as far as Medicare, Medicaid, and the VA system and military health care. And what I wanted to say was for Medicare and Medicaid, the reimbursement is about 2 to 3 times less. That's 200 to 300% less than private insurer payers. So right now, Medicare and Medicaid patients are receiving the quality health care and the innovative advances and pharmacological advances due to the reimbursement from private insurer payers. So in other words, if we get rid of private insurance, which will eventually happen if we get a public option, then we will decrease our quality and decrease our accessibility completely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Isn't it interesting that folks all across this land seem to understand so well, and yet boobs like Waxman, yeah, you remember Waxman? Yeah, he took over John Dingell's spot as the chairman of the committee. And there are those people who say, if anybody wrote this health care bill, it's Congressman Waxman. All right, Brian in Tennessee checking in right now on the Sean Hannity program. Hello, Brian.
How you doing, Bob?
Okay.
Well, I was just I heard on the radio today about Senator Dodd and prostate cancer, that he was discovered at a routine visit. I was just curious what he would be thinking about a nationalized system where, A, he probably wouldn't have these routine visits, and also wouldn't be scheduled for surgery 1 month after discovering it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's ask him. Thank you very much, Brian. I want to say hello now to Jackie from Denison, Texas. Jackie.
Yes, I'm calling about the health care issue, and I'm totally opposed to the health care, and I mean totally opposed to it. I don't want any substitute from the Republicans or the Democrats. We don't want this, and the only way we're going to stop it is to get out in the streets and march on these people and make them listen to us. I feel that it's a problem both with the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm an independent, and I say America first, and to heck with the parties. We need to do what's right for this country.
Listen, we don't need that. That's a hackneyed political talk. It means nothing. To heck with the parties. What we need is the first thing you said, and that is to get out there during the August recess. You go to your congressman, whatever district you live in, and down there in Texas, and you tell your congressman to make sure he votes against it. Because if he doesn't vote against it, when he's up for re-election in 2010, you will vote against him. Thank you very much. I've noticed there are people, I'm not saying necessarily that this lady calling from Denison, Texas, is one of them, but they are a little uneasy that the Democrats will be blamed for what is going on. And the transgressor-in-chief, of course, is a Democrat. His first name is Barack. And they're worried that maybe their beloved Democrats might lose the edge in the House of Representatives. And that's what they're worried about. That's why this lady said, I don't care if a Republican is a Democrat. No, we don't even have to consider that. What we do have to consider is that the American people protect themselves by being knowledgeable and by letting your congressman know you know more about it than he or she does. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Grant for Sean Hannity, straight ahead.
Sean Hannity Show starts right here, right now.
And indeed it does, Johnny. It does indeed. And Bob Grant sitting in for Sean. Delighted to be here. Sean will be back on Monday. And good news, ladies and gentlemen. We've got on the line right now. And we're going to welcome Senator Jim DeMint, author of the newly published book, Saving Freedom, We Can Stop America's Slide into Socialism. And before we talk about this abomination that's going on in the nation's capital, Senator DeMint, I want to tell you that your book is certainly so timely. Can you tell what inspired you to write this book at this time?
Hey, Bob, it's great to be with you. Well, I'll tell you what inspired me is I didn't run for Congress until I was 47 years old. I had a chance to live in a private economy, have my own business, raise a family. I saw freedom work. But what I've seen the 10 years that I've been in the House and the Senate is too many people in politics, and I'm afraid too many Americans really do believe that we can have freedom but still have the government run everything. The fact is we can't. And Saving Freedom helps people see the difference between the principles of freedom, the things that have made America great, and the path towards socialism, which has been followed by so many countries before, and I'm afraid we're on that path today. But Saving Freedom also has a lot of action plans, what people can do. It answers the question I hear from more Americans today than any time before, which is, what can I do? And Saving Freedom opens up the Capitol. It shows people what's happening and why it's happening, what they can do about it. It gives them a lot of things they can do to help change this thing. And the healthcare debate is just right what this book is about, is either individuals are going to be making their own choices and be free, or the government's going to be making those choices for them. We've got to fight or we're going to lose it.
Well, you've certainly been outspoken in the United States Senate. Perhaps some of your colleagues not as bold as you, but I see even the President of the United States noticed that you were not one of his fans.
Well, maybe he'll have me over for a beer summit or something. I'm afraid sometimes the Senate Republicans are just sleepwalking towards bigger and bigger government, and sometimes I have felt like I needed to use stronger words to be clearer about what I meant. And I do think we have to stop Obama on this government takeover of health care. Otherwise, he's going to blow right through this and on to cap and trade and forced unionization and all the other things that he has on his agenda. This is a real showdown for freedom in America. And I write a lot about that in Saving Freedom, is the groups that are pushing us towards more government have now consolidated power in the White House. And we as Americans can change it. And we see it with the Tea Parties. We see people going to town halls with posters that say, "Keep your hands off my health care." Seniors are engaged. They're key to this whole debate. We can win this battle, but we're not going to win it in Washington. It's going to be won out across America.
Well, if people are paying attention to what you're saying, then they're going to do the right thing in the next few weeks. It is my belief, Senator, correct me if I'm wrong, it is my belief that it's been a minor setback to President Obama that there isn't a health care package legislation, socialist legislation enacted thus far. Do you believe that if the people can be heard in the month of August, that when you guys go back in September, there won't be a socialist health plan shoved down our throats?
That's the only way it's going to happen. And I've been talking to grassroots groups all around the country. I'm so glad my book hit when it did. If people take a look at that, I think they'll see a lot of what they can do from their own hometowns that can really change things. But August is key, and we're hoping that people will go out to town hall meetings. They'll even maybe take 10 or 20 others and go stand in front of a congressman's office with a few signs. Obviously, we want people to be peaceful and courteous, but they need to let their concerns be known. Otherwise, these Democrats are going to be able to pass this without any Republican support. But August is a big month for America.
Saving Freedom, We Can Stop America's Slide into Socialism is the title of Senator DeMint's book. It's available in the bookstores, and I certainly hope you get a copy of it, because it can be a good textbook, a primer for what you should do, what you have to do if we're going to save ourselves from ourselves. I mean, that's what it amounts to. Senator, you probably are aware that your colleague, John McCain, on the same side of the aisle, said he's going to filibuster if Obama proceeds with this Dollars for Clunkers program. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, if you wonder if the government can manage health care, just look at what they did with this Cash for Clunkers program. They're trying to get in the used car business, and they've offered these huge incentives for people to bring their old cars in, and all the dealerships have set up their fall promotions around it, and within 1 week, the program's broke, and they suspended it, and now they want to come back and ask for $2 billion more that we have to borrow as a country to make this work. It just should remind people that all these promises by politicians never come true, that we're loading so much debt onto our children. We've got to just stop and think about what we're doing. No one read the Cash for Clunkers bill. I mean, I opposed it. I talked on the floor of the Senate about it, and the president's just trying to move things so quickly that we don't have time to even let the American people know what they're getting into. But I'm glad to see John McCain back in action. He's been great this week, and I told him so, just on trying to strike earmarks and a lot of wasteful spending from the bills that are being pushed through. And so he's got a lot of fight. I occasionally disagree with him on a few things, but I'd rather have somebody that is passionate about something than someone who's just sleepwalking.
It must feel a bit strange to know there are only 40 of you Republicans there in the Senate, and you've got all those Democrats, including some freaks like Al Franken. It must be strange.
Well, I came in 4 years ago with 55 Republican senators, and unfortunately Republicans didn't act like Republicans. We spent too much. We borrowed too much. Of course, we look small time compared to what they're doing now. But we do need to get the Republican Party focused on those principles of freedom, the whole idea of a constitutional rule of law, limited government idea at the federal level. And I think we're getting to get together. I think the Republicans in the House have stood tall and stood together. I think you're going to see the Republicans in the Senate stand strong on this government takeover of health care, and we're going to be actively presenting alternatives, which we've done for a number of years. President Obama, by the way, voted against every proposal that Republicans made that would have made health insurance more affordable and available. Yeah, it's fortunately, the good side of this, Bob, is that Americans are seeing what the Democrats really stand for. With this massive stimulus plan, which was really a government stimulus plan, and now the government takeover of health care. You look at cap and trade. When there's no balance of power or checks and balances in Washington, the Democrats run straight towards a socialist agenda.
Yes, very well put. Senator, good luck with the book, and good luck in rallying your troops to join you in this effort which we all need to stop the slide into socialism.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for what you do. You're a key part of getting the word out about freedom every day. Thanks for giving me a chance to talk about saving freedom.
Senator Jim DeMint, ladies and gentlemen, on the Sean Hannity program. All right, we're forging ahead here. A personal note, please, if you don't mind. I have to tell you, I am enjoying being with you, being with Sean's great audience so much. This has been a real joy. Hey, I've got at least half the program left to do. Goody. All right. I want to pick up that phone and welcome to the Sean Hannity Show, Richard from Bakersfield, California.
Hello, Bob Grant.
Yes, Richard.
I just wanted to share information on prostate cancer that I had 7 years ago. I was going to an HMO doctor. He said he thought I had cancer. He didn't know for sure, so I went to a neurologist. He checked me and he said, I think you do have it. They gave me a CAT scan, and the doctor said, looks like it's out of the prostrates into the lymph glands.
Oh.
Now, that's the HMO doctor. Can you imagine what it would be like if this new health program came up? I'd be dead by now. I've shared that with many men, and I think I've saved some of their lives by telling them all about the procedures of prostate cancer.
Now, when did you have the diagnosis of the prostate cancer? When did you have that?
A little over 7 years ago.
So, it's safe to say you're doing all right?
Yeah, I had radiation 36 times, and I'm doing fine.
Well, God bless you, Richard. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. Janelle from Texas checking in right now on the Sean Hannity Show. Go ahead, Janelle.
Hi, I'm calling about the concerns of the health care. One part of it that I haven't heard about is mental health care.
Yes.
And if we do go with Obama's plan, I don't think my prescriptions would be approved. One of them is $300 retail. One is $180, and that's only 2 of the medications that I take. And I haven't heard much about the mental health care, and I'm just terrified about
what is the ailment? What is the disease that is being treated with that expensive medication?
I am manic depressive, and if I didn't have these medications, I probably would never leave my house. I need these medications to get through the day. And without them, I'm a complete mess. I need my mental medications to get me through life.
Well, you see, your story is so important, as was the story of the gentleman just ahead of you. And the reason I say that is there are people in the Obama White House, people like Rahm Emanuel, for example, who have been quoted as saying that the infirmed, the old people may have to step aside, inspired by the former governor of the state of Colorado, Richard Lamb, who said that people are going to have to step aside for the next generation. And ladies and gentlemen, what that means by step aside is, would you please die quietly? I hate to put it that way, but that's exactly what they mean. Thank you, Janelle. I hear of so many people that are manic depressive. Is this an epidemic? By the way, speaking of epidemics, we're being warned that we may have an epidemic of swine flu, H1N1 flu. I mean, if it isn't one thing, it's another. Bernie from Dumont, New Jersey. Hello, Bernie.
How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great.
I missed you. When I heard you were on, that I almost did a backflip there. Anyway, I was telling you, screener, I got kids high school age. They spend a lot of time in school listening to everybody that's just in love with this Obama guy. And I tell you, it's a full-time job just educating them so that they can go back to school and tell these people exactly what's wrong between the teachers and the students. It's a hard life here in liberal New Jersey.
By the way, you can correct a mistake out in New Jersey in November of this year. You can correct the mistake of electing John Corzine to the governor's chair by removing him and replacing him with a real solid guy by the name of Christie. Thank you very much. I appreciate the call. I'm hearing so many people who, and we haven't been on that long, but in the hour and a half or so that I've been with you, I'm hearing from people who don't sound panicky, who don't sound whiny. You're not getting these typical liberal whiny approaches to things where, I'm getting a message from solid citizens like you who listen to Sean. And that message is that you know how deadly to the economy, to the health, to the future of America, this health plan, I call it a plan because I don't know what other word to use, that this could be absolutely devastating. So keep doing what you're doing. Straight ahead. How it's therapy to hear that man's voice. The logic, the common sense, the greatness of Ronald Reagan. And when you compare Ronald Reagan with what we have today, this march toward socialism, it can break your heart. Yes, timeless American values are under attack. We conservatives must join forces to fight back. And the place to do that is the Heritage Foundation. Join the conservative army. Go to askheritage.org and help us fight back. At askheritage.org, you can become part of the resistance in this time of conservatives in exile. We need you. Join Heritage now at askheritage.org. The truth is slowly coming out about the liberal health care plan in Washington, the outrageous costs, the taxes to pay for it, and the fact that 88 million will lose their existing coverage is all becoming public. And that is largely due to the Heritage Foundation. You know, they've been exposing the details of this liberal Washington takeover of health care and putting out ideas that will actually cure the health care system in America. And they have all this great information on AskHeritage.org. By the way, Heritage has been around for over 35 years, and they just keep getting better and better. So you go to AskHeritage.org and join the growing army of Heritage members, including 465,000 other Americans who want to help. You see, the Heritage Foundation fights liberal big government policies, which we need now more than ever. Let's go to Lake Ronkonkoma, New York, via telephone, calling the Sean Hannity program, and say hello to Don. Hello, Don.
Hey, Bob, how are you? It's an honor to speak with you again. I'm telling you, your contributions to my talk radio education are immense. Thank you for everything you do.
Well, I thank you. It's been my pleasure, my honor to have done this all these years, and to have Sean ask me to come in and sit in for him is really a wonderful feeling. Thank you. Let's go to Shane in Estes, Colorado. Shane.
Hey, Bob. How are you today?
What's going on?
Well, you know, I was thinking here, and I haven't heard anybody talk about what's going to happen with health care once or if this abomination goes through on this health care. I just had the thought.
Yes,
I would imagine that a lot of doctors and a lot of people are going to go black market on their health care. I mean, if they're telling us who we can go to and when we can go to them, I would certainly take my family to the doctor that I wanted if he'd offer his services under the table, so to speak.
Well, where would you go? Where would you take your family?
Well, I would do my best to find a doctor that would be, better than what perhaps the government said I had to go to.
You would not, according to the legislation that has been encompassed in these 1,018 pages, there are 5 things you would definitely give up. And one is being able to go get the doctor of your choice.
Right. So then I would go to, if I could find a doctor that would do it, say, like I said, under the table or on the black market, provide his services, and if I could afford it, I would definitely do that.
Sounds a little strange, under the table there. A black market medicine is what you're talking about, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if they're telling me that I have to do it a certain way, but I don't feel that's the best for my family, then I would find some other alternative.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, Shane, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all, ladies and gentlemen. Henry Waxman, and you just take a look at Henry Waxman, if you can stand it, without regurgitating. You take a look at Henry Waxman, and you know that he does not mean well for Americans, because he does not believe in the same values that our founding fathers believed. As a matter of fact, I wonder what Henry Waxman does believe that may have anything in common with you or me. I just wonder. Rita in Michigan. Yes, hello, Rita.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
All right, Rita.
I'm calling on this health care.
Yes.
And my comment is, I don't know if the people realize it, but while you're sitting there watching your loved one die, while they're just on pain pills and they're not going to do anything, that they're also going to help you with their will. The government's going to be right there and they're going to help you. And the people have to realize that this cannot go on, because they're going to take care of everything for you.
Well, except they're not really going to take care. They're gonna mess it up.
They're going to take away, and then on that, they're going to tax you on everything. while you watch your mom, your dad, your grandma, even yourself, and your wife is there or your husband is there, they're going to do a will and they're going to tax you on everything that you have. And that's the only reason the government's going to step in to do a will is to see what you have. Unless somebody can tell me differently.
Well, you know, you ought to talk to Governor Granholm and those two peaches you have in the United States Senate representing you, like Senator Levin, for example. These are the people, the very people, Carl Levin and that rather hatchet-face type lady. I want to tell you that Michigan has become a very liberal state. Seems though we just keep getting more and more liberal states all the time, and we really have to pay a price for that, don't we? Yes, indeed. All right. I want to say hello to. I want to say hello to Kevin in San Antonio, Texas. Yes, Kevin.
How you doing, Bob?
All right, Kevin.
I just wanted to add a little bit on the health care, if I can.
Yes.
I'm a cancer patient. I had throat cancer 14 years ago, and I worked for a company, and got great health care, chemotherapy. I got a surgery and radiation, and I'm okay. It was great, but that company closed down. I started my own business, and having a pre-existing condition, health care just for me was $1,800 a month. And after paying that for so long, I dropped it. And I haven't had health care for 10 years.
Well, is Medicare your primary?
No, I just pay cash. I just had a surgery less than a year ago. I had I had a herniated belly button, and they had to, I paid the doctor, I paid the hospital, I paid the anesthesiologist, I paid for everything up front. Cost me like $8,500, and everybody was good to go. I even did the follow-up with the doctor expecting to pay him, and he said, no, it was all covered on what you paid me already, which I was shocked and surprised and happy all at the same time. But, a month or a few weeks later, I started getting these bills from the hospital, and I went back up to the administrator, and she goes, just give them to me. You and I entered into a contract. They cannot do that. So what I'm saying is that, if all else fails, then you can do it. I mean, a lot of people can't, even if they come up with this ridiculous program. One guy had mentioned black market. I'm sure the doctors could still do cash if you had to for, minor.
Now I've heard everything. Here's a guy who says he pays cash. I want to meet you after the program. Maybe we can discuss a very cushy loan. But seriously, good luck to you. I thank you very much. He pays cash. There's another guy who wants black market medicine. Maybe we all belong in the Congress. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something right after we have this next break. I must tell this to you, and you're not going to believe it, but it's true. Straight ahead. All right, and we're going to march ahead in lockstep. Hey, how about the way Kim Jong-il has those North Koreans marching? It's amazing. It's amazing how they can do that goose step. The best description I heard of it was they're auditioning for the Rockettes. His army marching down that wide boulevard in Pyongyang. Now, we're talking about the failure of Obama on the economic front. What about the failure of Obama on the foreign front? Foreign policy. Now, here's a guy Here's a guy who actually wants to have Zelaya reinstalled in the president's chair in Honduras, even though the people of Honduras don't want him, even though the guy has been thrown out of the country, even though they have a Supreme Court which ruled that Zelaya is violating the Constitution of that country. Why, oh why, would the Obama administration want to side with Zelaya instead of the Honduran people? I don't get it. All right, I just thought I'd throw that in there. Here's Brian from New Jersey. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Bob. How are you?
Okay.
Good, good. You know, the airways deserve a break from the self-proclaimed Great America, so it's glad to hear you filling up for it.
All right.
Okay. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about nationalized health care.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's a good idea for one simple reason. It's basically when healthcare companies are for profit and the well-being of individuals is just at for-profit stake. I'm against for-profit when it comes to healthcare. So we need to take the for-profit out of that equation completely because.
Are you against anybody making a living by virtue of being in the healthcare field?
No. I'm against anybody making a profit at the expense of not paying out.
Well, here, ladies and gentlemen, here is a full-throated socialist, communist, whatever you want to call them. Profit is a bad thing.
Bob, calm down for a second.
Listen, I hope you get better. I really do. Maybe there's a cure for what you've got.
No, listen to my argument first.
I don't know if they want to give it to you intravenously. If you could take a pill, maybe a pill would do it.
And for bottom line,
I mean, it's very possible you could do that. There's another way you could take it, but I would not say that. This is Sean Hannity's program, and it's a very dignified program, and I don't want to lower the dignity level here, if you understand. But I do hope you get better. I really do. I mean, we're going to take the profit out of health care. Okay, how about taking the profit out of lawyers? By the way, speaking of the lawyers, did you notice they've got such a stranglehold on the Democrat Party that there's not one sentence dedicated to tort reform? I talked to an outstanding attorney earlier today, and I thought for sure he was going to disagree with me, but he said, you're right. There isn't one sentence about tort reform. All these obscene awards that are given. A guy walks into a supermarket, there's a grape. There's a little grape on the floor. He's a klutz. He falls down. Next thing you know, he's suing the supermarket. And they want to get rid of the guy, so they give him $10,000, $7,500.
Hannity Show starts right here, right now.
All right, let's squeeze in a few more telephone calls before we talk to United States Congressman Peter King from the 3rd Congressional District of New York. Congressman King is one of those rare politicians, really a rare politician, who speaks his mind and who votes his conscience. Are you there yet? No, he's not there yet. Okay. Shortly, I want to hear what Crist from Douglasville, Georgia has to say. Yes, hello, Crist.
Hi. I just wanted everybody in America to understand that the Canadian medical socialistic view they have and the way their services run, they don't control it. You go in to see a doctor, they give you what you want or they think you need without a lot of the tests given. And in fact, they overdosed my daughter's father and basically sent him into a heart attack on her 12th birthday. It just so happens.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Let's go to San Diego, California. Say hello to Gary right here on the Sean Hannity program. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Bob. You know, you're a living legend. You're one of my absolute favorites. And I have to agree with you that Congressman King that's coming up is a true patriot. But I have to respectfully disagree with you, sir, on a couple of issues. And I like your opening line where it says America is under siege, because I agree. America is indeed under siege, but America is under siege by both parties. I think both parties are the problem. Both parties are two wings of the same bird of prey. And I think that the Republicans are terribly...
Where did you get that? You know, that's a cliche that has been adopted, that you heard at a meeting or maybe you saw it somewhere. Two wings on the same bird of prey. How cute that is.
I didn't hear that anywhere, and the reason I say that is because I was a Republican all my life, and I even voted for Bush the first time. But when I saw what he was doing with the illegal immigration problem,
is he running again?
No, he's not, but he's part of the problem.
You know what you are? You're a Democrat, and you've given yourself away, because this is a Democrat stunt to keep talking about Bush, divert the attention. We don't want them to focus on the Sultan that we have installed in the White House. We'll get them talking about Bush. Well, guess what, pal? It's not going to work. All right, listen, respectfully, I thank you. You know, I've heard this act. Folks, look, I've heard this act so many times. I wasn't born with a great deal of patience as it is, but I even lose what little patience I have when I hear this same diatribe. And it's so obvious. And it isn't a question of talking about political parties, because political parties are made up of people who ostensibly have a program in mind to govern this nation. But the fact of the matter is, and this is what I was going to tell you before, the fact of the matter is they are looking out for themselves. Do you know that the Congress is not going to be affected by the health care reform whatsoever? They're not going to be affected at all because they are above it. We have Peter King right now. Congressman Peter King, welcome to the Sean Hannity program.
Bob, it's great to be with you, and just so you know, I'm sitting on a plane here in Washington. We're heading back to New York, and the flights are delayed several hours. So everybody else is bored stiff, but I get the chance to talk to you. So there you go.
Well, we had a great conversation the other day, and I received a lot of reaction from people who appreciated your candor and the fact that when a lot of other people were falling in line, like with the Michael Jackson ceremony, you said, hey, wait a minute. The guy was not a saint. The guy was far from it, and you told it like it is.
Well, I was obviously upset with Michael Jackson himself, but I was even more upset with the way the media and all the elite in this country were treating him like he was some war hero or the person who cured cancer. And the fact is, he was a pedophile, and he had a disgraceful life, and he had talent. But that, to me, in no way overcame what were really serious defects. I don't care what someone does in their personal life, but this was affecting young children and absolutely disgraceful.
All right. You know, we've been talking almost exclusively on Sean's program this afternoon about the health care bill, or should we call it Obamacare. What do you see happening? We have a month's recess, and then you guys go back into session in September. What's going to happen?
I think, first of all, there's no chance at all for what President Obama wanted to pass. It's not going to happen. Is that a very incremental bill is going to be adopted? I mean, listen, there is some need for health care, reform, but the fact is there's not 47 to 50 million people who lack health insurance. The real numbers are like 10 to 15 million. And what we should be doing is dealing with the people who cannot afford it, the people who don't have the money or have specific health conditions. Deal with them. But over 80% of the American people have health care insurance. And to me, you don't undermine them. You don't undermine the whole system just to take care of a few. It's wrong. We'd be nationalizing and socializing our health care system. I think it's the worst thing we could do.
Looking at all of this from a purely political standpoint, and that might sound strange because it's all about politics, but nevertheless, Charles Krauthammer, one of the most brilliant observers of the American scene, says that Barack Obama doesn't really care how the bill comes out, as long as there's a bill he can sign and use it to say, you see, I kept my word, you see what a great leader I am. And this way, he will ensure the Democrat supremacy in the nation's capital. What do you think?
Well, first of all, Charles Krauthammer is, to me, one of the great intellects and great thinkers in American society and American politics today. I would only disagree with him to this extent. I think President Obama will accept whatever he can in the end and try to claim victory. I don't think he wants to. I think he really did and does want to have a nationalized health care system. He does want to have a single-payer system. He does want to bring our country toward a European social democracy. But I think he's starting to face reality right now, and I think he's going to retreat and declare victory. I don't think it's what he wants to do, but I think he's smart enough, and he's very smart. He's smart enough to realize that's what he's going to have to do. So I think somewhere around October, November, you're going to see President Obama announcing a grand compromise and say, this is what he wanted all along. But it's really not. It's not what he wanted, but he will accept what he can get and try to claim it's what he wanted all along.
We're talking to the United States Congressman Peter King here on the Sean Hannity program. Congressman King, the fact of the matter is that Obama is a very tricky guy. I mean, he's skillful, there's no doubt about it. He has this charisma. He has a way of making himself sound so omniscient, and it's been working. Do you think he's going to continue to mesmerize the American voter?
Not that I had a 4 smile from just that humor. Anything's possible right now. So I will go with that opinion. About 6 o'clock.
Peter King, are you still there, sir? Do we have him? No, I guess we lost him. Well, we were going to conclude the conversation anyway. Straight ahead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it might interest you to know that Congressman King has been speaking to us on a cell phone on an airplane. And the reason he had to do that is a long wait because of inclement weather, waiting on the tarmac for about 4 hours. But we have the congressman back on the line. And here's a gentleman, Congressman Peter King, from Austin, Texas, who has a question for you, which I think you would certainly be able to handle this question better than most people. David, go right ahead. You've got Congressman Peter King on the other end of the line.
Well, thank you very much, and hello to you guys. I hope your plane ride is safe and you get to where your destination is. The Republican Party right now seems very fragmented, and it's interesting to me that even in the fragmentation, Barack Obama's poll numbers are going down, yet you can't get the base together. How are you going to get the base together?
Well, actually, I think we are probably far more unified than we've been in years. Every Republican in the Congress, for instance, voted against the president's stimulus bill. Almost, I believe, I think 95% of us voted against his cap and tax bill. And right now, we have, like on each of the committees, every Republican has voted against his health care bill. So I think, politics is never going to have total unanimity, but I would say that as a congressional party, we are very much unified. Obviously, we have differences, but we have come together, I think, more so than almost any time in recent memory. And as far as at a national level, I think when you lose a presidential election, that takes you several years to line up behind another candidate or for 1 or 2 candidates to emerge from the pack. But right now, in 1976 we lost, and the party was unified in Congress, and then in 1980 we had Ronald Reagan as our candidate for president. So I would be a little more optimistic than you are. There are differences in the party, but we do, on the basic principles, we are standing together. Almost all Republicans oppose the president's policy in Guantanamo. Almost all Republicans believe that we need tax relief for middle-income people and small businesses. And virtually all of us are opposed to a government takeover of the healthcare system. So while, yes, there are differences of opinion, I would say ours are far, far less than what the Democrats are going through right now. They have 57 of the blue dogs, or whatever their number is. Many of them are strongly opposed to the health care bill, even though they're buying off a few of them at a time. But most of them are still opposed to it. And then when that happens, more than 50 progressive or liberal Democrats sent a letter to Nancy Pelosi today saying they can't support the health care bill because of the concessions that are being made to the moderate and conservative Democrats. So they are really hopelessly split right now. They control both houses of Congress and can't get through their main legislation.
Thank you, David. I appreciate you calling the program and asking the congressman the question. Now, what will you be doing during this September recess? Will you be sounding out people in your 3rd Congressional District of New York?
Yeah, I will be over the break. The only time I'll be away is I am going to be going to the Middle East for about 4 or 5 days on a committee trip. I'll be going just myself and several other people from the intelligence community. That's somewhere around the end of August. But other than that, I'll be in my office. I'll be obviously attending different meetings. I'll be meeting with constituents. I find maybe the best way to get a result is stopping by diners on Saturday morning, or bagel shops on Sunday morning, or just going to local ball games. And people come up to you and they talk to you, and you can generally get a sense of what's on people's mind that way. And of course, I'll be meeting with various groups. Various people are coming to my office, but I'll be around. I think I have a pretty good feel for my district. I've been there now in Congress for 17 years, and I can tell you, the American people, certainly the people in my district, do not support this health care program the president's proposing, and they're very, very concerned about Guantanamo. And that could be because, my district was especially hit hard on September 11th. We lost well over 100 people, and so the scars of that are still very deep and very raw, for that matter. So President Obama is not winning any votes for his, what he calls anti-torture, which is a ridiculous thing to even say, and closing Guantanamo, and what appears to be caving into the left wing of his party. That is not endearing him to people in my district, I can tell you that.
One final point, Congressman, and the only reason I'm addressing you is you're the only other member of Congress, the only member of Congress I have on the line right now. Why is it that the people in Washington talk about need for health care reform, but the members of Congress have their own plan and will not be affected by this?
Yeah, well, let me just say, first of all, I believe that there is a national plan. I have no problem with Congress being part of it. But Congress's plan is the same as every other federal employee, whether it's the mailman, or whether it's the IRS worker or the agriculture worker. All of us have access to the same plan. And actually, they cost probably the average premium is about $67,000 a year. So it's not, expense free. On the other hand, it is good coverage. There are deductibles, and you do have to pay about $500 to $600 a month premiums. But listen, if Barack Obama wants the whole country to be part of one plan, then I have no problem with the federal government being, all federal employees being part of that. I think it'd be wrong. I wouldn't want to be part of it because I'm opposed to the plan. I think it's a bad plan, but if we are going to be fair about it, then if everyone else is going to be in it, we should be in it as well. Now, he would say that everyone else is not going to be in it, that there's going to be an option for everyone, and that since no one is going to be forced to take the option, federal employees shouldn't be forced either.
Right. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming to the telephone and spending the time with us, and we look forward to talking to you again, perhaps after you return from the Middle East. Okay, Bob, very good. Hang in there. Right, bye. Thank you. Congressman Peter King here on the Sean Hannity program. Bob Grant sitting in. Yes, indeed. It's the Sean Hannity program, and I'm happy to say that he'll be back on Monday. Who am I? Yeah, who are you? All right, I'm Bob Grant, sitting in for Sean on this last day of July. Did you know that? July's already gone. See, you learned something. From our How Does This Grab You file. I don't know if you're going to believe this. I am not making this up. 4 of the most powerful business leaders in America arrived at the White House one day last month for lunch with our Sultan-in-Chief, President Barack Obama, sitting down in his private dining room just steps from the Oval Office. But even for powerful CEOs, there's no such thing as a free lunch. White House staffers collected credit card numbers, that's right, credit card numbers for each executive and carefully billed them for the cost of the meal with the president. Now, I have mixed emotion on this. I don't like people snoring off of the taxpayer, and that's the guy that pays in the end, but it seems a little cheesy, doesn't it? I don't know if any other president has ever done that. Can you imagine? Around the table with Barack there were Ursula Burns, CEO of Xerox Corporation, Mukhtar Kent, he's the CEO of the Coca-Cola Company, AT&T CEO Randall Stevenson, and Honeywell International CEO Dave Coate. From time to time, the White House guests are asked to reimburse for their meals. The reasons include ensuring there is no conflict or appearance of a conflict. That's what a White House spokeswoman said, and I say, baloney. Baloney. That isn't why you build them. But that's all right. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we should do that. There are too many freeloaders around anyway. Speaking of freeloaders, what's your politician doing? What's your congressman doing? I mean, that's a great way to oh, boy. I remember when I was very close to running for political office. And one of the inducements this committee hit me with, I'm not making this up, folks. You can't make these things up. It's against the law to make things up. But seriously, one of the inducements this particular politician used was, he said, look, Bob, all you have to do is be a member of Congress for 5 years. That's 2 full terms and a half of the 3rd term. And you are automatically entitled to a pension, a lifetime pension. And this is what it's all about. The pensions, the free travel. Isn't it interesting how whenever there's a break, and this goes for people of both parties, they find that their committee assignment causes them or forces them to go somewhere. And if they were to pay for that trip, it would cost them quite a bit of money. So everybody's a freeloader out there, everybody. Let's pick up the telephone on the Sean Hannity program. Take a call from a gentleman by the name of Sean, calling from Florida. Yes, Sean.
Mr. Grant, I am truly honored to speak with you. I grew up listening to you since I was a young boy in New Jersey, so I am truly honored to speak with you, sir.
Thank you.
I wanted to comment on what that last caller who got to spoke to Peter King was talking about, and that's the base of the Republican Party. The party is getting so wrapped up in this big progressive machine that they are getting away from the core principles and the values of not the Republican Party, but America. And I'll give you the perfect example is over here in Florida where I live, our governor's running for Senate, Charlie Crist. He's horrible. he is borderline Republican. He's really not a Republican. He's an environmentalist. He had his hands held out to Barack for stimulus money, begging for money. He's a spender. He wants cap and trade, and he wants emissions regulations in my state here. And the party, the National Republican Senate Committee, they endorsed him as soon as he announced without even looking at the other candidates. Now, we have another candidate here named Marco Rubio who is fantastic. And I think the party is really going wrong by shunning people like Marco Rubio and shunning people like Sarah Palin and going for these centrist, progressive...
Wait a minute, where did the Republican Party shun Sarah Palin?
The support's just not there. You hear strategists and you hear...
What do you mean the support was not there? You mean because the McCain ticket didn't win the election?
The McCain ticket, no, because she pretty much kept McCain alive. But the people within the party, I think the politicians, a lot of the... I don't have any names for you, I'm sorry about that, but when I see these shows on Fox News and I hear people talk, I hear them they kind of rag on Sarah Palin. No, I don't think she can win. I don't think she's intelligent enough. I mean, McCain tore her...
Well, wait a minute, we're getting off the subject. Now, you're obviously a right-winger. You're obviously a solid conservative. And... those are the kind of Republicans you're looking for. You're not looking for Mel Martinez, who will be succeeded by Charlie Crist or what have you. Now, the tragedy, in my view, is that when you select someone like Marco Rubio, and I know about Rubio's excellent reputation, nevertheless, in a poll... hasn't it been found that he would not be as sure a winner against a Democrat as Charlie Crist would be?
I saw only one poll. I know Marco Rubio's covering a lot of ground and drawing some huge crowds of people. And if you look at the dynamic of my state, Charlie Crist is very popular, but he's popular in the state. So my state is pretty much a 50-50 state.
Yeah, I know. It is pretty much a 50-50 state, and all I can say is the Republicans have to win that seat. They can't afford to lose more members of the United States Senate, and whether you like Charlie Crist or not, he votes with the Republicans, and he's nowhere near as bad as, may I say this, ladies and gentlemen, without fear of having soap put in my mouth? All right, I'm going to say it. Arlen Specter. Yuck! Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I got a little carried away there. But, I mean, you know, there's an organization that is looking for a cathartic to sell in your drugstore. And they want it to be... oh, I'm not going to go on with this. All right, I will go on with this. Anyway, to induce a bodily natural function, they make you look at a picture of Arlen Specter for 30 seconds, and it works every time. I can't stand that man. I can't stand him. All right, let's see. Where... pick up the phone, say hello to Dr. George, also calling from Florida. Yes, Dr. George.
Yes, Bob, thanks for taking my call. Look, your health care debate should focus on the fact that, I can tell you as a physician, we have a real problem and a demographic time bomb that's going to blow off in a few years. Medicare is bankrupt, Medicaid is bankrupt. And this whole health care scheme that Obama is proposing is really a bailout for those two schemes to roll them into a bigger plan and basically put everybody under a socialized form of medicine. I can't even begin to tell you how doctors have taken it on the chin for the last 15 years, watching the reimbursement rates go down and down, and the paperwork, and even with electronic medical records, everything we've done to streamline is still not good enough to comply with the massive problem with Medicare, their coding requirements. You try filling out a claim form, and it's a nightmare. And, I think the people have been just dumbed down so much that they can't even put together the cause and effect here of what's going on. And they think they're going to get something for nothing, and it's just impossible. And we do need reform, but the real issue should be putting the power of the purse strings back into the consumer. That is the patient. And when you have your own medical savings account, or you go like in the good old days, remember Marcus Welby, you paid the doctor. When you call the shots and pay the bills, you have the rules. You decide who you want to see, what tests and treatments you want, and when you're going to be seen.
Right. Absolutely. Dr. George, you have said so much in such a little time. I'm delighted that you made contact here with the Sean Hannity program. Thank you very much, Dr. George. Straight ahead. Break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a few more phone calls before we slam the lid on things for today's Sean Hannity show. Here's, how about John from Kansas City? Hello, John.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to call in to put a plug in for no on this health care bill. Any government health care bill is not going to work. But 2 callers ago, you had a caller that was talking about party politics. And I wanted to clarify something on that. I've been a Republican for most of my life, and I get literature all the time, send some money in, send some money. Here's a survey, and they sort of speak to the choir in that literature. What I want Republicans to do is I want them to, I don't send money anymore. I tell them my money's going to the Heritage Foundation until we find some conservative Republicans, okay? And I think they need to speak publicly in a conservative fashion, which they're not doing right now. People that cut down Palin in our own party, McCain's people, Gingrich people, Romney people, you notice sort of a theme there. They're all running for president. And I think Palin's going to be in a position now to espouse conservative principles. The media in this country has done a fantastic job making a bad word out of conservative right wing. My mother-in-law asked me recently, John, are you one of those conservative Republicans, right wingers? And I asked her, I says, are you, to my own mother-in-law, are you in favor of liberty, freedom, limited government, personal responsibility, God-given rights? She says, of course I am. And my answer to her is, you are one of those right-wing radicals. And I think Palin's in a position now with the spotlight to let people know that that's what conservatism is. It's not what the media's created. It's really what most of us are.
Well, all right, John, you said a lot. I thank you very much. We've got Mary from Minnesota. Mary, patiently waiting on the line. Very quickly, hello, Mary.
Hi, I'm an oncology hospice nurse, and I take care of patients from Canada and Britain all the time. And I'll always remember a patient I had from Vancouver years ago who was diagnosed with testicular cancer in Vancouver. He was told he was too old for treatment. He was 65 years old. He came to Minnesota, and by the time he got here, his cancer had advanced. And he spent $1 million out of his own pocket in the year and a half that we cared for him before he died. Wow. And I have given chemotherapy to many people in their 70s and 80s who have done very well with it. And so the government should not be involved in any of these decisions. And
all right, you made the case. Thank you very much, Mary. Now do me a favor and get rid of Al Franken. Can you believe that Minnesota have put Al Franken in the United States Senate? I mean, this is one of the most... Here I'm talking about Specter. Specter looks like, Errol Flynn. No, that'd be... let's see, Brad Pitt compared to... no, that's too much. See, you get carried away. I get carried away. That's that goes with the territory. I want to tell you, though, that I have been having a great time for several reasons. Coming up here to this studio, which Sean uses, is just invigorating. There are so many dedicated radio broadcast people here. True professionals, and it just does my heart good to meet all of them, to work with them, and Laurie, I want to thank you. I called you by the right name, didn't I? Linda. Would you get me a 45? Get me a 45, and I will use it. Anyway, oh, Linda, she is a big help. And Greg, everybody. I want to thank everybody for their help. And I want to thank Sean for asking me to sit in. Straight ahead.